You're very welcome along to the Matchbook NFL podcast. We're at week 15, not long to go until the playoffs as the playoff picture hots up. I'm your host, Daniel Hussey. Delighted to be joined by Brad Allen and Judah Fortgang every single week to preview the weekend's card and sharing some of the guys' best bets. Before we get going, if you don't have a Matchbook account and you'd like to get involved, we do cover a lot of Matchbook bet and exchange markets. You can enter the bonus code POD50, POD50. That's for new customers, and you get £50 worth in free bets when you bet £50. But we will get into our week 14 takeaways, guys, and start with you, Judah. On look, the wide open AFC. I mean, the Chiefs are surely gone now, aren't they?
I would think so. Certainly, they're not going to be hosting any AFC Championship game this year, which is the first time in many, many years where that will not be the case. But I mean, even the Bills, we saw absolutely insane game. The Bengals probably should have won that one. And then, every week it seems like there's a new kind of hot team. And the Texans, I think, obviously had a masterful performance against Mahomes. They look really solid. The Colts went from a team that was, on its way to winning the AFC, making some big deadline moves. They entirely collapse, obviously. Will be starting Philip Rivers this weekend. This is just, I can't remember a year where the AFC, I think, is so wide open. A lot of different teams that can make the playoffs. Seeding, I think, is kind of all over the place, and just a complete flip, both from kind of preseason expectations of these teams, and even like looking at a snapshot of the schedule. A snapshot of the standings 4 weeks ago. I can only imagine what a snapshot of the standings in 4 weeks from now is going to look like.
Yeah, Brad, in fairness, it makes for exciting end to the season, and it keeps it open enough that there may be a sleeper in the market that perhaps people can take advantage of in the next few weeks.
Well, I'm not sure the Chiefs are fully dead.
Still in it,
I think. Yeah, still in it. For FTN gives them 13% chance at a wild card and just to make the playoffs. And I think they need, if they beat the Chargers and the Chargers go 1-3 the rest of the way and lose to Denver, which I think will be the last week of the season, then and the Chiefs win out, I think they're in. And obviously, given the state of the Chargers and the offensive line, I don't think they're fully dead. But it feels a bit like Josh Allen's year now to me. It feels like if Lamar and Mahomes are out, and it's just Josh Allen among the elite quarterbacks in there, and Burrow's out as well, it feels like it might be destiny for him at last.
Yeah, but it's usually when it does look like that, there's something, not even Josh Allen's fault, but something stops the Bills getting there. But we will see. It is fascinating, and obviously there are some good teams in the NFC, so we're very much looking forward to covering all that. Before we get going, if you can take 2 seconds, hit that like button wherever you're watching or listening, and if you leave a comment or any questions for Brad and Judah, we can get to them next week, which will be our last show before Christmas. So start us off, Judah, with the Seahawks hosting the Colts, and obviously we Philip Rivers back. You're -4. You never take -14, so this is huge for you.
Yeah, there was one other case, I think, where I've taken a similarly large spread on this show, and that was when Max Brosmer played in Seattle. And I think we have a very similar case here. The kind of argument I've heard for the Colts this week is something along the lines of, well, the Colts still have a very good run game. They still have a lot of offensive weapons and a good receiving core, to which I think we have to look only at the last couple of weeks where Daniel Jones has been unable to run, and the Colts run game has not been particularly good. And I think it's because the Colts run game was very much built off their early down RPOs, where Daniel Jones' mobility actually made a pretty big difference. And obviously, you're not getting any of that with Philip Rivers. Not to mention just your usual kind of things to keep in mind, that this is a quarterback who does not know the system so well. Right? Even when Philip Rivers was a Colt, he was not a Shane Steichen Colt. And this is a guy who's 44 years old. The base rate of success for 44-year-old quarterbacks, is Tom Brady, and there's a massive selection in Brady. And this guy hasn't played football in 5 years, and certainly is not in his peak shape. So I just have a ton of caution about what you can reasonably expect from Philip Rivers, and this is about as bad a matchup as you can have. Like going into Seattle, this is a pass defense that has allowed the fewest yards per attempt. They have the highest perfect coverage rate, the highest disruption rate in the NFL. Basically anything you kind of want to look at. This is a dominant Seattle defense at home. I think this is a spot where they should be able to shut down this Colts offense. On the flip side of the ball, the Colts are decimated by injury right now. They're playing a ton of man coverage. They don't have the corners for it. Sam Darnold has huge splits depending on whether or not he is facing a disruptive defense or not. I think this is a perfect spot on both sides for the Seahawks to score a bunch of points against a really bad Colts defense. And then I think there's a massive left tail here on Seattle, kind of doing exactly what it did to Max Brosmer and shutting down a quarterback and offense in a horrific situation.
Yeah, listen to that, Brad. I'm getting quite scared for Philip Rivers and his safety more than anything. It's such a great story to talk about. So you can maybe just talk a little bit about the story. You don't necessarily have to give your opinion on that -14. I know it's a big line, but as Judah said, he's happy to take them if it's value. It's value no matter how many points you have to lay.
Yeah, I think we speak on the show a little bit about where models might be flawed. And I think this is a nice spot, isn't it? Like, who knows what number to put in their model for Philip Rivers for someone who hasn't played in 5 years. Like, that is, I think, unprecedented, really. And the way I think about it is you definitely have to downgrade a quarterback who misses a month because they have rust, right? You have to downgrade quarterbacks or any players, wide receivers who miss training camp and they're not quite up to speed. So if you miss 5 years, I think it has to be catastrophic. I think it has to be disastrous. And maybe if he was going out there against a soft defense, I think it was going against the 49ers and they're like 0 sacks all year, maybe he would know where to go with the ball and it would be fine. But I don't know. You see it with all these old quarterbacks after a while, like Flacco, Brissett. If they can't move against a good defense, they just get mauled in the end. So, yeah, I've not bet this game yet. I was working out whether it is Seahawks minus or it's under 43. You can probably because also remember the Seahawks have got the Rams on Thursday night. So I think it's feasible they just shut this down. They get 20-0 lead and just sit on this for the second half, try and get out of there healthy without too much wear and tear. So, yeah, I think it's going to be bad for Rivers, but not sure exactly how to get at that yet.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how Judah gets on there, laying the -14 points and looking forward to, as a Chargers man, looking forward to my guy, Philip Rivers, back after 5 years. It's just an insane story. I was telling the lads off air, I was genuinely shocked. Not many things shock me nowadays in the sporting world, but this one did. Brad, Cardinals at Texans. We were right in the end with the Texans Chiefs. I say right in the end. There was a little bit of a drift there before the off, at least very late. I saw. I think the Texans get out to +4, +5 maybe, but right side got the win. They host the Cardinals this weekend.
Yeah, mega drift late, and that's been the Chiefs for the last month or so, like taking lots of late money and then not being very good on the field, which is interesting. And same this week, they opened 4.5, and it's now up to 6. So market is obsessed with the Chiefs still. Now Texans. This is mainly just about I think anyone who knows these teams would say mismatch when the Cardinals are trying to pass block. Now they've been banged up on the offensive line all year, and then this week they're going to be without their best player, the left tackle Paris Johnson. So they're going to be starting a backup rookie at left tackle. He's got a 54 PFF grade. That is not good. That would be about 67th out of 80 tackles. And I'm just going to read the rest of the line. So they, as I say, like rookie left tackle is bottom 10 percentile. They've got the left guard is ranked 56th out of 80. Now the best player on the line is 16th out of 38 centers. He's exactly average. The right guard is 62nd out of 80, and then the right tackle is 69 out of 80. So, and then they're going up against the best pass rushers in the league in Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson. You saw what they did last week against backup tackles in Kansas City, held the Chiefs to 10 points. So I don't really see why it wouldn't be more of the same, to be honest. The Texans have a weird, you kind of think, it must be priced in, but CJ Stroud at home in his career is 17-5 to the under. This season, Texans games are 10-3 to the under. And maybe it's the the head coach, D'Amico Ryans, maybe he just knows he's got a good defense. He plays a conservative. He punts on 4th and 1, kicks field goals on 4th and 1, runs the ball because he's just like, well, these guys are going to score 7 points today, so I don't need to do much. So yeah, chuck it all together, and I think still a bit of value in under 42.5, which is evens on the bet builder at the minute.
Okay, interesting stats on Stroud and the under at home. Jude, any thoughts on this total 42.5 at time recording? Around even money is under, so bang on even money.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd prefer the side here just because I think this is a Texans offense that's in a pretty ideal spot, both in terms of Stroud's play style and like the Arizona defense over the last month of the season has been absolutely abysmal. They're allowing like 8.5 yards per attempt to their opponents, and Stroud is very sensitive to a lot of the kind of similar to Sam Darnold, has pretty big splits, disruption versus not, and Arizona has been able to generate none of that. So I would just have some concerns on Houston's ability to score, and kind of would rather take the side there. But we can talk about more about that in a bit.
Yes, we will. We'll stay tuned to the very end of the show for that if you haven't picked up on it already. Judah, the Bengals, man. The Bengals. It was going so well for Joe Burrow against the Bills. Like this sport, man. Like this. Take it away. Your initial thoughts on that, and then go into this game as they take on the Ravens again after playing them in 2 weeks.
Really, so crazy. If you have like the beneficiary of some wild turnovers like in the third quarter, and then they just hand it right back up 6. 5 minutes left. Really, just need to milk a little bit of clock and get another score, and then obviously a pick 6 and then another pick, and still somehow almost came back. But yeah, this is I think kind of the main takeaway here is Joe Burrow, I think, is back to kind of full health, and we shouldn't have expected him to be fully back in that first game. But this is an offense that I think will pick apart any bad defense, and that's kind of the story here. I think with the Ravens, who outside of games against the Cleveland Browns and JJ McCarthy, also have basically not allowed a below average pass game to their opponents. Everyone is performing well above league average week in and week out. And I think this kind of Cincinnati fits squarely into that team that should have success against Baltimore. And on the flip side, I mean, I've been betting against Baltimore for weeks now because Lamar Jackson has just been terrible this season. He's scrambling a lot less than he's used to, and he's going to set career lows in EPA, PFF grade, accuracy rate, sack rate, basically anything you want to look at. And I think the market is pricing in for I guess decent reason, a Lamar Jackson from 2019 to 2024, but that has just not been the quarterback. And this is a quarterback that the matchup effect matters less when he is destroying so many plays as he is, and he is getting he can't beat a 4-man rush this season. So I just don't. Lamar Jackson is you can rattle off all the stats. He just hasn't been the same quarterback. The offense hasn't been as good. They can't run the ball as well. And overall, I think this is an extremely overrated Ravens team in the market.
Okay, yeah, Brad, are you surprised by the prices given what happened a couple of weeks ago?
No. Yeah, I mean, there's +3 popping as well. So a bit of Ravens money recently. +3, 1.86 on Matchbook at the minute, which is tempting. I suppose I'm just a bit worried. There was one, they had a stat on the broadcast last week where Lamar's foot speed was up for the first time in a month or so, like up a couple of miles an hour when he was running the ball. And I'm just worried about, that Bengals defense is always concerning. They miss so many tackles. It's going to be cold. Can they tackle Derrick Henry? Do they get any pass rush ever? No. So, yeah, I feel like there's correlated. Like, if you think the Bengals win the game, I think they're going to have to score points. So maybe you want to chuck in a bet builder with the over as well.
Okay, yeah. Perhaps boosting that price a little bit. Brad, you go on to the Titans at the 49ers. Judah, also has a selection here as well. You like the over 44.5, 193.
Yes. So the Titans are a bit of a pass funnel nowadays. Over the last 6 weeks or so, Titans defense is 10th in success rate against the run, but 27th against the pass. So kind of encouraging encouraging teams to pass them. And we saw last week, Shedeur Sanders ended up going for 330 yards against these Tennessee Titans. And I don't really see why Brock Purdy wouldn't do the same. He's had the bye week to rest a little bit. He's got his weapons pretty much for the first time all season. Kittle, Jennings, Pearsall, McCaffrey, Purdy healthier. I don't really see what's going to be stopping Purdy and the Niners putting up 30 plus here. So then the question to me was, can Tennessee chip in? And again, they moved the ball more effectively than they have all season last week in some snow against a good defense, in some wind. They've also started throwing it a lot more. Three of the last 4 games they've been a positive pass rate over expectations, in passing more than you would expect them to. And San Francisco is dead last in sacks, dead last in pressure rate. Like, the pass rush is non-existent. And so 44.5 for a San Francisco game, for we think these are 2 bottom 5 pass defenses here. Obviously San Fran can slow down, but that's not really the way you play against this Tennessee team. So I think this is a fraction low.
Okay, over 44.5, 193. Brad sort of made a case that Titans can score here, Judah. I mean, you're going all the way to the money line as a long shot. You liked what you saw last week from the Titans, or is this taking on the Niners, or like always, maybe a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I don't think you're going to get to Tony Pollard 50-yard runs again. But I think a lot of this is kind of the points Brad mentioned. This is a Niners defense that I'm really, really selling. And I think there's a chance that Tennessee can score a bunch of points. I mean, Cam Ward had a decent stretch before playing Cleveland and Seattle, Jacksonville over the last couple of weeks, where against Indianapolis, against New England, against the Chargers, he was throwing for an average of like 7 yards per attempt with positive EPA per plays. Looked like he was kind of on that upward trajectory. And I think kind of the more signal or possible signal there is his ability to beat lesser opponents, which I think San Francisco is, as Brad said, this is not a serious pass rush and a secondary that has been decimated. I mean, the entire defense has been decimated by injury. And on the flip side, I think there are always some funky game state possibilities if Tennessee can shut down this San Francisco run game. And especially with Brock Purdy in obvious passing situations, there are he has an outsized chance of a bunch of turnovers. Is San Francisco likely to win? Of course. Do I think that there's some value in the market right now, given basically the interaction of Cam Ward and this Titans offense with how bad I think San Francisco's defense is? Also, yes. And do I think there's some value in kind of how this game state can work out in obvious passing situations? Yes. But I think Tennessee is somewhat live. And hey, if they can get some Tony Pollard 60-yard rushing touchdowns again, then that would certainly strengthen the case.
It's a fun one, perhaps. And if anyone wants to play the odds all the way to the money line, like Judah is, Titans money line 7.8. Sportsbooks have that around 6.5, 7.0. You are getting, at the time recording Friday morning, 7.8 on the Matchbook betting exchange. Well, we're taking advantage of that. And if you don't have a Matchbook account, as I said, the new customer offer was hit at the top of the show, pod 50. Brad, we're going to make your double long shot here into our £10 money back special for listeners. So that's special exclusive money back as a free bet. If it loses, all you have to do is back this double on the Matchbook bet builder. It's Dolphins at Steelers.
Yes. So this is a play basically on the way the Steelers. So Waddle has been underperforming his usage the last 3 weeks. He's at about 250 air yards, and he's gone under 250 actual yards. So he's been a little bit inefficient, but those sort of things generally bounce back. And then he's got a nice matchup here. The Steelers run man coverage at a top 5 rate this season, but they're actually quite bad at running man coverage. They're below average in yards allowed per snap and per target. And then Waddle, he gets targeted more. He gets about 5% more targets versus man, so he goes up to about 30% target share. And then he's also more efficient in turning that into production. So And then also, finally, Matchbook has good prices on both the yards and the touchdown on its bet builder. So throw it all together, and you do Waddle over 60.5 and a Waddle to score, which comes in at 4.33.
Okay, so why not back it with Matchbook at the time of recording and beyond, and you get your money back as a free bet if it loses up to £10 full T's and C's on insights.matchbook.com, where all the guys' tips are recapped each and every week. Just search Matchbook Insights. Judah, best bet time here. Sorry, a little bit your thoughts on the Dolphins Steelers double there on the bet builder, and then you can lead into the Texans.
Yeah, no, I like the Jalen Waddle angle, and I mean he has destroyed, as Brett said, destroyed man coverage, and I think the Dolphins have kind of sneakily gotten back to some of their old offensive ways, and this is a Steelers offense that, I mean, barring a kind of random spike from Aaron Rodgers last week, has really not been able to generate much. So maybe I like the Dolphins there, but definitely Jalen Waddle, I think, is going to be the recipient of a bunch of targets and love that spot.
Okay, and best bet for you, we covered it, touched on it, but Texans minus 9.5 at time recording 193. That's your best bet on the card.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is this is a ferocious Texans defense, and you can look at any stat. The craziest one is that this is a team with a negative 0.11 EPA per play on plays where they don't get pressure, which is unheard of. And this is a team with one of the best units in the NFL, and then you're dealing with just weak links galore out there for Arizona, who is going to be missing their left tackle, as Brad mentioned. So I think this is a spot where the Arizona offense has struggled to move the ball as it is the last couple of weeks, and then this is a defense that, for kind of, if you look at the full season sample, has been I'd say like a little bit below average, but in recent weeks that has been particularly bad. And this is a defense over the last month that's allowing almost 8.5 yards per attempt. They're last in the NFL in disruption rate. CJ Stroud is a top 10 quarterback against disruption. When he is disturbed, he's more like a bottom 10 quarterback. He's got one of the highest discrepancies between disruption, non-disruption, pressure, whatever you want to kind of categorize it. It will be the same. And I see this as a spot where the Texans can really dominate Arizona on both sides of the ball. And obviously, Jacoby Brissett takes a ton of sacks. The Texans generate a lot of sacks. That is a perfect recipe for a team to kill drives, force turnovers. And I think the Texans should be able to win here with pretty big margin.
Okay, minus 9.5, 193. Final bet is your best bet, Brad, and it's Panthers at the Saints. Doesn't look like a great game. The total suggests so, over 40.0, but you do like that over at 187.
Yeah, so I mean, we should start with, this is a 40 or 40.5 point total in a dome, which is, to me, there's got to be some elite defenses going on here, or this is wrong, when I don't think that is correct. And now, obviously, part of it is the Panthers want to crush play volume. They want to run the ball for 5 yards of carry, and they never want to throw it. And they're happy to do that. And obviously, the first time these two matched up, week 10, so what's that, a month ago now, 17-7, and it went way under. But I think we might see Carolina forced to change, because in the first matchup, as I said, they scored 7 points. They got battered at home, but they had 23 carries for 73 yards, weren't able to move the ball. And actually, the Saints now, since week 2, so full season, actually, New Orleans, 9th against the run, 9th lowest EPA per play allowed against the rush, and 19th against the pass. So you don't want to run the ball, you want to pass against them. And we've also seen that Carolina does occasionally change if it thinks that's the right thing to do in a matchup. There was that game against the Falcons where they just decided we're going to throw the ball. It came out through it, 65%, 70% of the time. Bryce went for 443 yards, and there was 53 points in that game. And I suspect that will be the move this week. So I think we can see basically more play volume, more passing from Carolina. Now the Saints, again, they are first in neutral pace over expectation among all teams, and by a good way. So they want to move fast. Now they've just come off a game in the rain in Tampa Bay, which obviously slow scoring expectations. They still went over that total, and now they come back indoors. Obviously, Tyler Shuck had a kind of a breakout game with 2 rushing touchdowns, beat the Bucks. So if they're in control, they're going to play quick, and I think they should have enough success and enough speed that they're going to force Carolina to pass. So yeah, as I say, if the total is 40 indoors, there's got to be some elite defenses on the field, and there's not really. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Judah, your thoughts on that angle, the dome in particular? Like if 40 points is low for a dome game, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the market has calibrated towards that. I guess what concerns me is that these are some very, very slow offenses that want to run the ball first. And I can see kind of a very slow game developing. But yeah, I also I think Brad has some points. So you add them both up, not a spot I'm going to take either way.
Okay, game of opinion. So listener, viewer, take yours on board as well as the two guys, and check out insights.matchball.com. As I said, if you want a full recap, we'll be back for one final show before the Christmas break. Very much looking forward to it. But my thanks to Brad and Judah. As always, enjoy this weekend's NFL. It's hotting up, and hopefully the playoff picture will come clear over the next few weeks. We'll chat to you next week. Bye-bye.